Welcome to Threat from Above. This is the gaming wrapper we've built for the project of Score. You'll see this come up. We kind of use them interchangeably. We'll refer to the game as Score, but Score is actually all the stuff that wraps around the main project here. So that's our back end. That is the simulation platforms, where Threat from Above is more just the game UI that we're showcasing in right here. Then we have two modes. We have campaign mode, which is a scripted set of scenarios that kind of build along a narrative and a storyline. This is more of what we'll see for the schoolhouse use. And then we also have a skirmish mode, which is something that we're looking at for our edge training for when they're down the road after they've gone through the schoolhouse. This way they can maintain that ability to perform in the field. So we'll start off here with campaign 1. They can hear a little bit about it, what it's trying to teach. You can also see that there's a campaign 2 that is yet to be unlocked. So when I click on launch campaign 1, it'll change over, and this will show me the scenarios that are available for this campaign. We have Ginty scenario 1 and scenario 2. When I click scenario 2, now we're greeted with the screen that showcases all of our important information. On the right, we've got our leaderboards. This shows who's the top on this current scenario. It will tell them where they are at, if they've played it, and what their score is in relation to their peers. It also comes with an intel briefing, kind of giving a brief background on what's going on inside the scenario. This is part of that narrative element that we've been talking about. This is just kind of giving that background, that little bit of engagement to get players coming. And then we've got the warn order. This is just kind of terminology we want them to get familiar with, so that when they see it in the field, it's just something that they've already seen while they're in the schoolhouse and they've been used to the terminology. Click for our start scenario. And now they're greeted with their first look at the globe. And here on the globe, they can see a lot of things being placed down. It looks a little busy. I'll break it down in depth as we go across the timeline up here at the top. But the first thing that they'll see is their learning objectives. This kind of gives them the idea of what to expect when they're playing through the scenario. So for this one, it's demonstrating understanding of the DAO and PDAO, employing BMDS active defenses, and understanding and applying dual phenomenology. Click on continue. Now they have the mission objectives. This is kind of letting them know what's expected of them for this scenario, kind of how to get the best scores, what the minimum is for what they need to do. Next, we get into the defended asset list. This they can break down. They can see each individual one. So I can see Band Air Force Base. I can click to show on a map. It'll highlight it here where you can see it gets a little bit bigger. It starts to wiggle just to make it stand out a bit more. It'll tell them what the CVT score is for it, the level of protection they need, as well as just its coordinates on the map. And this applies for all of our assets. So we can also see the Bay Laurel Air Force Base, or I can go up to Sycamore and see it. Next, we come up to our Red Force. So here we can click to see the BMOAs. When I click show map once more, we'll spin around the globe and focus in on them. It tells me what threat is coming out of that region. So this is the CC-22 out of Ladera, how many they have in their inventory, their typical threat ranges, as well as their minimum and maximum speeds. And I can see this for each of my BMOAs and transfer between the two. And when I click on continue, once again, we're met with another knowledge check. So based on its range, it's unlikely that the CC-22 could strike Band Air Force Base. If I hit true, I'll get that instant feedback. Incorrect. It tells me this has a maximum range of 6,000 to 9,000 kilometers. And based on that, we could hit it because it's within that range. Next, we'll go over to our Blue Force assets. This gives them the idea of what they can use to make their plan with. So they can see that they've got multiple Aegis LRS and Ts. They've got an Aegis BMD. They've got yours on the map that are available for tasking, as well as an SBX and some Patriots and THAAD launchers. And once again, they can click on show on map so they can spin around to see where they are on the globe at any point in time. So here, when we click on start planning, now it comes to the real thing. It gives them a little thing here. It says welcome to Mission Planner. It's kind of a little experience thing that we've put together for the user so that they understand how to create BMOAs a little easier. Once they hit start planning, it'll start the clock, and we'll see that going up here. And this is just tracking how long they've spent planning. So the first thing we'll do is we'll create a trajectory. So I'll double click on one of my BMOAs. You can choose from any of the asset locations. You can even change which BMOA it comes out of. So when I hit create, you'll notice we put a trajectory directly on the map. And the big thing here in the bottom is our sensor coverage timeline. So this goes from left to right, being the leftmost point being our launch and the right being impact. It breaks it down so I can see individually which sensor sees it and when. So I can see that I have this great big red bar, meaning I have no detection at the beginning. This is also noted on our trajectory as this dashed line. So anywhere where it immediately breaks to transparent is when we've lost our track. So it goes clear and then it's just a dashed line throughout. We borrowed this from ISIM, as when we talked with JB Tech and Northcom, these were some fundamental things, and they really liked how ISIM displayed it. The other thing they can do is they can see that the trajectory is actually in 3D space, so I can see how it arcs across the sky here, kind of giving them that better idea of how things really look in a 3D world. So as we move pieces in, I'll move my Aegis LRS and T3 up. We can see that it instantly changed on the trajectory, and now my sensor coverage timeline upgrades as well. So I can see just where things are at. I've got now a better time to first track, but perhaps I just want to go and get big coverage for the whole thing. I can move my SBX up, and it'll update itself as well inside of the trajectory timeline. All right, so now that I've got all this, we can see some of our shot opportunities are designated by the thicker red section at the here. This once again is from ISIM. It's just a thicker line for the trajectory. As I grab my Aegis BMD, you can see that it'll change in real time, so I can see where all my shots are. So I can maximize my shot opportunities. And let's just create another one of our trajectories. And now that we've created a new one, it'll actually change our sensor timeline to be the updated trajectory. So once they think they have a pretty good defense design, they can hit our submit plan. But for now, we also want to be able to showcase another ability that we have, and that's the ability to plan with search fences. I'm going to turn off this SBX as it's got a really big sensor volume. And all of the sensors actually do have this ability, so I can toggle them on and off at any point. So this way they can have them on or off depending on how it helps them to see the battlefield. So if I want to plan by sensor by my search fences, right now we have it set to a button that kind of jumps back and forth so we can demo it easier, but we'll be able to set this on the scenario page. So I can just click on my ship or my radar and click the little fence icon, and you'll see right here that it spawned in this red search fence. And right now we can see one of our trajectories, but not both. And as I move this around, you can actually see how it goes through the 3D space of our trajectory. So you can see how one goes through our search fence, just barely catching it on the edge so that we get tracking. And once we have tracking, we assume that we can queue backwards. So everything else is queued from where this went through our search fence. So once again, if I click on this, I have a whole thing here where I can change the different parameters from our search fence. And once I think I have a pretty good set, I'm feeling real confident in it, I'll hit my submit plan. And now you'll notice that our clock in the top changed. This is now kind of going in what it would be in real time coming across. We're running at about 500 times speed, so it's going really fast. But we can see we also have our missiles launched out, and we can see how they come across the globe. So I can see them coming into the different sensors that we have. And now that they're coming in, I can actually watch and see our shots come up. So here we can see that we got successful intercepts with blue showing off of our friendly missiles flying out. And now we go to our after action review. This is where it breaks down for them piece by piece of what they defended and what they didn't defend. So if we had let a missile slip through, we didn't reach the level of protection needed, we'd actually see up here where it's a failed instead of a defended for our assets. And then when I click on the after action review, I can also see a breakdown of all my scores. So I can see that I got a 1921 of a 1978. And then I can see here my technical score is the only thing that doesn't look perfect. And then it's the time to first track. Okay, I could have had a better search fence set so I could see the launch sooner.